Anyway, Tamara's been on the show many times. We get her on about once a month or so, talking about the Cyber Patriot program. And you guys are going to love this. You may have missed the beginning where we were talking about 600,000 cybersecurity jobs are begging right now. We were asking Richard and Dan, how can we solve that problem? And one of the things they said was talk to Tamara. So, Tamara, I mean, let's assume that no one knows what Cyber Patriot is and how it can help solve that problem. So go ahead, take it away.
Absolutely, and then we'll be able to hear from Bridgette, a partner in crime here, when we're trying to fix that problem, right? So the National Cyber Patriot Program has a lot to offer for K through 12, so kindergarten through 12th grade students and beyond. They just came up with a new program that I'm going to talk about it a little bit too. That's just really exciting, and it kind of spawned from some of the things that the kids have been doing in this space. So from kindergarten until 5th grade, they have awareness training that they get free by downloading some video games. So there's 3 video games at different grade levels that they can download, and then they just sort of instantly get awareness training, right? It tells them not to talk to strangers online and not to have, give people out their passwords and all that kind of lovely good stuff that we need to have them know as they're going into this digital age, right? And then they also have a book series for that same age group where the superheroes are kids like them. And they learn to defend their systems at home and their parents and all that kind of good stuff. And that kind of inspires them to that greatness. And then when they become 6th graders, and Bridgette can give you firsthand information about that, when they become 6th graders in middle school, then they start the competition. And so through middle school and high school, they do a national competition that runs from October until March. And they get to protect their systems and protect themselves and learn how to defend themselves. And then they had a couple of years ago, they came up with a new program to make aware our most vulnerable population, senior citizens. And they call that the Cyber Generations program. And that was kind of done it was all in a box, right? You had modules that you could do with senior citizens, but it was kind of not an organized kind of way of going at it. It was just the materials are there. Senior citizens could sign on and they could go through the training themselves, or you could present it to them. And many of our students here in Michigan kind of took it upon themselves to go to senior citizen community centers and things and teach those seniors this thing. And it kind of took off from there, and they got some ideas at AFA, the national place, and they came up with a new program called Tech Caregivers. Basically, you could take that training, you can get certified in that training, and then you go out into your community and you start training other people on it. And so I'm really excited that some of our kids, and I know kids across the country, were doing that already, just naturally. And then they made it into an official kind of thing, and they get a little certificate for doing it. So I'm pretty excited about that. And just seeing how this has grown from, 8 teams going at each other in Florida and just learning on how to do it, to the, over 6,000 teams competing nationwide. And then in Europe and in the UK and Canada. So it's really, really blossomed over the years that we've been working in this space.
Okay.
So what does a typical practice or competition look like for Cyber Patriot?
So they are taught to protect, right? And Bridgette can talk to you about what it looks like from a coach's standpoint, but they're taught to protect their operating system. So I always liken it to, for folks that really are not way into it, and it's not your audience, obviously, but it's like, what do you do when you open up a box on a new computer? How do you, make sure that thing is secure before you go out on the internet and you start, mixing in with all the people who want to probably do some bad things to you if you're not careful. So they do that with operating systems, for both Microsoft and Linux systems. They have and servers, and then they learn to protect their networks. And so they have Cisco challenges and packet tracing challenges. And Bridgette, if you'd like to pitch in here a little bit, what it feels like as a coach to teach that stuff.
Sure. So the U.S. Cyber Patriot program provides the kids with a lot of great material. They get access to Net Academy, which is Cisco's online training system. It is phenomenal. And I'm telling you, these kids are actually taking the CCNA network. So by the time they graduate from high school, they can pretty much pass that exam. I mean, that's the amazing thing. Our practices are conducted virtually. So when COVID hit, it wasn't that difficult for us to just blend right in. We have closed caption requirements, so we use Google Meet and Google Chrome connector, and we chose Google Meet because the closed caption, believe it or not, will show each person individually who's speaking versus just a whole rolling, text. So it's a little bit easier for closed caption. So between those two tools, our virtual practices are very easy. The Cisco, we're very thankful for the training online. We use Microsoft's TechNet, that's kind of like the roadmap. There's a lot of YouTube, believe it or not, the kids are on YouTube all the time. So YouTube has been a great place for them to learn and understand what it's about. And then Ubuntu, I mean, it's, the manual's online. So that's a little bit of what our virtual practice is like. And then I try to get, people that from the industry to come in and speak to them on occasion.
Tamara, this is the first time Bridgette's been on the show. So why don't you introduce her and what her background is?
So Bridgette's been a cyber guru for years now. So she's, been CISOs and many companies, and she took it upon herself. Her son kind of went into the window of middle school, and she came to one of our camps, and she said, this is, and taught with us, and said, this is amazing. And she just went back to her community and started up a program all on her own, getting the teachers and the people involved, and letting her have this after school program. And so she's graduated. From you. Well, that's kind of what I mean, and that's the thing to understand that we are here and there's a lot of support, right? So the Michigan Cyber Patriot program is different than any of the other programs in the country because we do come together and we all work together. And I have other coaches that kind of help with spread the wealth. We try to do a little dating game between some of these professionals, mentors that come in and help. So we've connected up with some of the ones with Bridgette has been able to do. But because she comes from industry, she completely understands. We need more people in the pipeline, and you want to inspire these kids. And so coming to a summer camp and getting exposed for that first time and realizing, oh, it's not hoodoo and that's not voodoo and it's not scary. It's just kind of what we're already doing in classes, just a little bit more. There's an adversary now. And so we need to think about how we can protect ourselves from that adversary. And this program was put together so easy that I can kind of drop it in, right? I don't feel bad about when I say to Bridgette, yeah, you can do it. Because there's a lot of materials there, and other coaches across the country and in Michigan are helping each other to do this. Because if we don't all get together and do this at every level, right, we're going to always be catching our lunch from those folks and that are doing the ransomware and making a ton of money. Because like you said, government, everybody in your earlier segment, we can't keep up financially, right? And just how long it takes to get them through the program, right? If you have them, if I'm teaching them in kindergarten to be aware, and then in middle school, we're teaching them how to defend themselves. In high school, they're learning how all the different kinds of attacks that happen, and they're getting certifications. They can hit the ground running when they go to the community college and the university, and they can be picked up as interns and co-ops and kind of get into that culture and start to understand this is an amazing career track for them. And so the more we get, the less it's going to be on all of us, right, to do that. And Bridgette does this every day. She's out there a warrior fighting that good fight. And then afterwards, she's taking care of these students, trying to help get them into the care.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Bridgette. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say it's to see these kids come in, and when you talk about internships, trust me, if anyone says they're from a Cyber Patriot, they're hitting the ground running for you.
All right, and so we were talking briefly about not having the military directly involved, but the military can be a great feeder. I mean, they train a lot of these kids, right out of high school to be cyber warriors. And is that a sort of pool of talent that you guys are taking a look at too?
So, I worked in higher education for 17 years, right? So we always knew that once we got people who are coming back and getting retrained, that they were situationally aware from military, right? And they help us here in Michigan a ton with our cyber camps. And what I try to do when we do that is not only do we just open their eyes to Cyber Patriot and cyber as a career track, but we also try to show them all the different ways they can do that, right? And so one of the things that I do, even though AFA was started by the Air Force Association, and it is run by them, and it's wonderfully run. And so you can drop and drag and just take it into a classroom and start using it. They also want to make sure that we're not pushing the military in any way, shape, or form. But you have to understand that when I have a camp and when I'm teaching and when I have mentors and I'm assigning folks, I don't have a problem at all if they're wearing a uniform and they show up in a classroom, because there's all kinds of different pathways to this success, right? And so not everyone has the money to go to school, and not everyone is ready for college at 18. And so being able to go into the military and get a couple of years and be a veteran and come out at the end with some Cyber Patriot background and with the military experience, you better believe that those people are marketable once they hit. I'm sure Bridgette would love to hire those kind of folks when they come out. Absolutely. And so I definitely encourage all of those pathways, right? And even the Michigan National Guard, they helped me a ton with my Cyber Patriot camps. And Bridgette's been at some of those. And if they want to bring a recruiter in, I bring them in, because there's different pathways for everybody. And so I'm just as excited about the kid who signs up as the kid who gets a scholarship.
Matt?
So Bridgette, Tamara, I wanted to ask you, both of you, what's been your biggest surprise in dealing with these students and dealing with the middle school and high school students in particular that are starting to get a little bit more intellectually advanced in terms of cybersecurity?
Yeah, my biggest surprise is just, I keep telling myself, these are teenagers. These are like, 8th graders, 10th graders, and they're learning Cisco Packet Tracer. They are learning a CCNA certificate, and they're only in high school. It's just absolutely amazing, the stuff that they learn. These are technologists who want to learn inside and out. They're not just there. They want to defend, because that's what Cyber Patriot is about, is defending. And it's just amazing to see them. I'm teaching them things our security engineers are just learning themselves, so that's the surprising thing, is just how versatile they are.
Well, and certainly as salaries go for folks coming right out of college or out of these programs, this is like the top of the scale, right? I mean, I've heard kids coming out of program making $120,000 a year in their first job. I don't know if that's the case or not, is it?
Oh, we've definitely had some major successes, right? I mean, I have folks all over the country that are CISOs, in the national parks, and we have nuclear, and we have, they're all over the place, after they get these kind of degrees. And definitely the way that we're preparing them, right, early and often, I think that makes a huge difference, right? And I think the thing that's really amazing about this is that we're not putting a governor over the top of it. We're not saying, hey, kids can't do this. We're saying, you know what? They're doing this and a lot more. And if we just kind of focus them and show them, career pathways and ways to do it sort of, for the good, right? Rather than for the, the other, it makes a huge difference in how things are going forward. Like my thing that I was most surprised about this summer, and I think I mentioned it last time I was on, but it goes with I did a 3rd and 4th grade camp this summer for the first time. I got to tell you, I was freaked out about it. But my friend Alan Stubblefield out in California, who's one of the nation's best coaches, he does it on a regular basis. In fact, he was going to do a kindergarten camp this summer. And I just was like, no way. And I thought, okay, they're going to be able to get some of the little bit awareness pieces. There were kids in there that already knew about hacking tools on the internet. They already, and they were telling me about them. And I was like, whoa, right? So it's like, we can't pretend that they don't already use this stuff on a daily basis. They do. And so we need to show them how to do it in a correct way. And like Bridgette was saying, YouTube is your friend. So you know, they can learn the bad stuff, or they can learn the good stuff. And with just a tiny bit of encouragement and all of us in this game together, we can kind of show them the pathway, you know, to be able to help all of us protect our critical infrastructure. I mean, it's scary out there.
All right, we've come to the end of the segment. So if people want more information about Cyber Patriot, Tamara, where do they go?
So for locally here in Michigan, we have a wonderful group. Bridget's a part of that. I can't tell you how nice it is to have her on and show you that, you know, there are people out there fighting the good fight. They can go to MITechNews.Com for that information. If they want to volunteer to be a mentor, which we really, truly want, that's why I come on and do this show, is I really want people that are out there in the field to help people like Bridgette, who's there on the front lines with these kids, and bring their creativity and the diversity and the things that we need to see in this, and come and volunteer. And to do that, you go to uscyberpatriot.org to become a mentor. But if you want to just, you know, ping on me, go to the MI Cyber Patriot, and we will hook you up with the other coaches that we're working with and the mentors and all that kind of good stuff. I'm a one-stop shop here, and I can direct them wherever they need to go.